Hey everyone, welcome to this new moon Sidereal Astrology forecast for the new moon on Wednesday, October 6, 2021. All right, so another new beginning here for the lunar month, and it is going to be in the constellation of Virgo. If you were expecting me to say Libra just then, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. We are using the visible sky on this channel, which is different from mainstream astrology. All right, so Virgo the maiden, we've already had some energy here for the past at least 3 weeks. And so it has been very much about improvement and taking care of daily responsibilities, things that require self-discipline, like perhaps health, diet, routines, building good habits, and our work and service has been the theme. However, this is the first new beginning that we are having here in this constellation for this year. So this is really where we're going to start to see the new beginnings emerging out of this. And I think it's great to set intentions around this. How can we improve things in our life this new lunar month and improve ourselves, improve our environment? You know, that personal development, improvement nature, fantastic. Now, there is going to be a conjunction with Mars and slightly this Mercury retrograde. So Mars here is suggesting that's very much a new beginning with our fiery side. So even though this is Earth, Virgo is about creating structure in our life. It is very much like a new moon in Aries, which is about fiery nature. So great to set intentions with taking action and initiative towards this improvement side, cultivating our independence and trusting our gut and our instincts, setting goals. All right, all of this is fantastic with this. And of course, with Mercury, especially being the ruler of Virgo, being retrograde, it is good to be very flexible and adaptive with all this. Maybe at least over the next couple of weeks, how can we try new things here with improvement? Maybe change up the day-to-day activities a little bit, or some of these habits or routines, and learn, be flexible. Things are changing. There's a lot that gets kind of mixed up there with that retrograde, but good to have a plan A, B, C, and D and learn throughout the process, because we do learn a lot during that retrograde. All right, so the new moon will be trining up to Saturn, and so there is some support coming in from the responsible side of things. Opposition to Chiron and Pisces, a reminder to still go with the flow and get plenty of rest and sleep and maybe some healing as well. And yeah, that Mercury is squaring Pluto as well, so there's this deeper energy too that we can work with along with this. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the chart for the new moon. The exact time of the new moon, actually, let me go ahead and get that for you. I actually did not write that down. 05:29 a.m. Eastern time of the Americas, if you want to make that calculation for wherever you are in the world. Again, 05:29. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, it will be around this Wednesday time period, maybe even very late Tuesday for some of us. All right, so time of new beginnings. It is definitely the ending of the previous cycle as we do approach Wednesday. And so it is good to complete and finalize things as we approach Wednesday, maybe create a bit of space, clear, good for meditation, spiritual time, finalizing things. But slowly, as we do emerge from this lowest energy phase of the cycle going forward now, we will start to likely see some new beginnings and some new developments. And all in all, it's just good to set intentions during any new moon in this sense. Now, this is all in Virgo, so this is the maiden. It is the side of ourself that is refined, wants to be refined, wants to strive towards perfection or some ideal of some kind, usually in the physical self. And it's usually great to be focused on the things that we do have control over, right? So Virgo is about all the things we do have control over, which is fundamentally ourselves. And so refining ourselves, improving ourselves, again, building good habits and routines. One of the great expressions of Virgo is our service, right? Where we have service to, whether it's our jobs, our career, family, home, whatever we're of service to, right? Good to implement that. But fundamentally, it's all about improvement. And it's viewing life through this improvement-oriented lens at the moment. Again, improving ourselves and our environment, right? So great to set intentions around this, build some structures, things that are automated. Great time of building good habits, creating automation in our life, fixing things, solving problems, all right? Being a facilitator of our lives and perhaps helping others through our service as well. And using our analytical minds as well. It's usually very detail-oriented, very analytical energy with Virgo. So great to incorporate this into our life. Again, it's already been emphasized these past at least few weeks, but setting intentions around what can be improved, what can we do more. It requires good habits and improve ourselves and our environment. Now, Mars is in a very close conjunction here with this new moon, suggesting it's very fiery in nature as well. And again, it's like having that new moon in Aries. So Aries, the ram, thrusting forward, taking action and initiative. So in the context of improvement, how can we cultivate some of this fire? All right, what does require initiative on our part? And setting new intentions with things that, yes, require initiative, but also require confidence, assertiveness, trusting our gut, trusting our instincts, goal setting, being independent, being a pioneer, marching our own path, right? This kind of fiery, independent nature, huge part of this new moon. New beginnings for the yearly sense with this side of ourself, and any intentions around this, these things that do require initiative or confidence on our part, great to start to cultivate in this sense. Now, this is, of course, combust energy. So usually visibly, we do not see Mars in the sky. And so this usually makes it more internal and more unconscious. So while this fiery nature might be seeking expression unconsciously, it's very important to do this consciously, intentionally, just to make sure there's no rashness, no impulsivity, no fire building, right? Bottlenecking, right? That can be the combust energy of Mars, is the unconscious assertiveness and action and needs, pursuing needs that when done unconsciously can be imbalanced, right? And perhaps challenging. But by turning the conscious awareness to it and intentionally, incorporating that fire energy constructively with intention, with awareness, then that's a great way of working with this. Now, Mercury is also here quite close to the new moon. Now, Mercury is usually close to most new moons in this sense because he's very close to the sun usually. But him being the ruler of Virgo and being retrograde, I think, is adding to a huge part of this as well. So Mercury rules, our day-to-day activities, hence Virgo, rules our work, our service, improvement, also our analytical minds as well. So this has been going through this kind of reworking process for about the past, what's it been? Almost a week. Yeah, about a week. And so, it's already been kind of good to kind of rethink and redo things and reevaluate and be flexible, but especially with this new beginning. So even though it is a new beginning and there's definitely a lot of forward moving energy now, we are starting to see a lot of the outer planets starting to go direct one by one. This week it's Pluto, late this week is Saturn, next week is Jupiter. The planets starting to move forward do suggest forward moving implementation. However, with the retrograde, at least for the next couple weeks, it is good to be flexible because information changes, things change during the retrograde, and we want to be adaptive. The whole point of it is to, see that, yes, it's good to kind of rely on things, and Mercury represents all the things we rely on a day-to-day level, whether it's our cars, our computers, our work, our routines. But the retrograde is a great opportunity to mix some of this up, to see it in new ways, to try new things, to maybe change the routine and the work and these day-to-day things we rely on a little bit so it can, again, help facilitate our lives a little bit more. So hence this is a good time to go back and repair things, redo things, right, that need to be repaired or redone. Anything from the past few months that you've been implementing in your life, it is good to, again, go back and maybe re-edit some of these things, rethink some of these things. But just be flexible and try a bunch of new stuff because the retrograde is actually a great time of doing things. It's just that we want to do so with flexibility because we learn so much during the retrograde, right? And it gives us a new lens, a new angle on this stuff. And this is how we get to introduce new things, is trying new things and experimenting. So it is good to do that. Just have that, again, plan A, B, C, and D because things are changing. And interestingly too, sometimes when Mercury goes retrograde, the things that normally don't work out do work out during a retrograde. So, getting outside that comfort zone, doing things we don't normally do is a great way of working with this Mercury retrograde. All right, but yeah, that is the theme of it because it is this new beginning that is reflecting. It's a new beginning. It's redoing, readapting, making changes, experimenting. It's definitely a very important part of this new moon as well. All right, so the new moon is going to be trining up to Saturn in Capricorn. And so there is this now support for the responsible side of ourselves. I think anytime a new moon trines Saturn, we do have a bit more of an easier ability to implement responsibilities. So a great way of doing that is using some of that discipline or patience or perseverance into the day-to-day, into the work service, into improvement. All right, we do have that support to do that. We may notice things moving forward a little bit, maybe next week with our achievements and our accomplishments with Saturn trining the new moon and Saturn going direct later this week. All right, so there's that supportive element from the superego, Saturn, which is responsibility. It's the internal parent. It's the things we do that take time, patience, and discipline that are supporting us in this new beginning. Now, it is opposite up to Chiron, which is really just a reminder that while Virgo is about focusing on what we do have control over, Pisces, the opposite constellation, deals with letting go of what's outside of our control. So it is good with this energy, while we are getting into the physicality of things with Virgo, to just remember that it is, of course, very important to get rest and sleep and to be willing to go with the flow a little bit and to surrender what is outside of our control. And I think Chiron there can be very healing in this process. So focusing on what we do have control over, but letting go of what we don't. All right. And connecting a little bit more to our spiritual self, what is important to us on a soul level, because what's the point of all this work and doing stuff if it isn't important to us on a soul level? So good to find a bit of that balance, and some of this going with the flow and being receptive can actually be very healing and therapeutic, as it has been for Chiron here many years, but now activating it with this new beginning. And there is a quincunx with Uranus. I normally don't cover these minor aspects, but it is a part of this square with Saturn that we have here as a yearly energy this year. And so do know that maybe the Uranus side of things might be a little bit harder to implement. We are getting the support from Saturn, but things that deal with freedom and change and having some new experiences, and like that Mercury retrograde, a little bit getting outside that comfort zone, maybe a little bit challenging to do, but good to challenge ourselves to do just that, especially with Uranus and Aries and Mars being a part of this new moon. How can we take action and initiative in a way that lets out that true self, listens to that excitement, right? Maybe induces a little bit of change, a little bit of freedom, right? And all this can be supportive in that context. All right, and then lastly, I do want to mention that since Mercury is playing a huge role here, Mercury is retrograde over the square with Pluto. He's been passing over Pluto direct and retrograde, and so there is this energy of a deeper stuff going on as well. And so our minds are a bit in the underworld at the moment. So it is good to dive deep with ourselves, learn more about ourselves on a deeper level, maybe break some patterns, face fears, right? Do some healing, perhaps, that maybe involves learning and understanding and maybe studying. So great to do that. Use that deeper energy, the mind in the underworld, to unearth and uncover deep things, not only about ourselves, but also about life, can be very constructive as well. All right, everyone, so that is the new moon. Most simply put, it's Virgo, the maiden, that side of ourself that is refined, wants to improve, wants to create structure and strive towards some ideal of self or of life that we can work towards. And Mercury retrograde means this is flexible and adaptive. It's important to do so, at least for the next couple of weeks until we get to the full moon. And Mars here, very fiery. How can we take action and initiative towards some of this improvement-oriented stuff? We have the support of responsible Saturn. We have the reminder of the importance of going with the flow with Chiron and Pisces. We got a challenge to integrate a little more freedom and change into the mix, and utilizing some of that deeper mind with the Pluto energy as well. All right, so everyone have a fantastic new moon. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button if you haven't yet. If you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a newsletter. You can sign up using the link down below if you're watching this on YouTube. You do get these videos released first and extra content not normally released on YouTube. So do check that out. But again, have a great one, everyone, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.